Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield. All right, let's go, Springfield. Time to 10X another day. You are listening to the Elevate Springfield podcast. Robert Ferriell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, here to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together we're going to elevate Springfield. So we're separating out our segments that we have into their own drops each week. Bite-sized chunks of actionable strategies for y'all to take in. So we're going to start having 2 full episodes a week. We're going to continue the Monday and Thursday schedule, but we're going to be dropping these wellness upgrade segments and the communities grow together segments separately. So I am excited to bring you more actionable strategies each and every week. We're going to bring in professionals from all across the health and wellness space for these segments, and I'm just really excited because you guys know that health and wellness is one of my passions and one thing that I am very, very serious about for my own personal life. So the Wellness Upgrade is brought to you by Shudokan Karate Club of Springfield. Over 50 years of guiding students down the martial arts path. You want confidence, discipline, self-defense, and community, visit ShudokanKarateSpringfield.com. So today, you've heard from her before, Kyleigh Melvin from the Primitive Prairie, right after the break.
When I first walked into Shudokan Karate Club, I was just looking for a way to get stronger, but what I found was so much more. Here we train in traditional karate, the real stuff, passed down through generations. Every punch, every kata has purpose. I've learned self-discipline, confidence, and how to protect myself. Not just in class, but in real life. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being prepared. This is more than a club, it's a way of life. Join us at Shudokan, traditional, powerful, real. Kyleigh!
And we are back for another edition of the Wellness Upgrade. Joining me again, Kyleigh Melvin from the Primitive Prairie. Kyleigh, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Ready to get into more holistic health and wellness and all the good stuff that you have going on, right? So for today, my daughters are part of a program you have as part of the homeschool community. We call it Forest School.
Yes.
Where you guys go out and do a number of things and maybe do some foraging and things like that.
I try to. Yes, I would love to do like stuff they can eat, but then that gets, with some like the toddlers, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. It's a good group of kids because sometimes anyway, they'll run up to me with like Violet and be like, Kyleigh, can I eat this? I'm like, yeah, I mean, tell your mom, but yeah, you can eat that.
Right.
Like I'm not always the best, but yeah, I try to do, our last one with foraging was we were looking for first aid kit. Cause then I'm like, okay, you're not eating it. You could eat some of these, but I won't tell you that today. But we did a first aid kit with plants we found here in Springfield is where we did our hike.
Very cool.
And that was awesome. They found, I think, all of them.
Nice.
So yeah.
So let's dig into that a little bit. What are some of the plants native to our area that you would use in your teas and tinctures and all the stuff that we've talked about?
I have some I use all of the time. So the ones that day, I'll start with some of the skin ones, and then we'll do my favorites for the teas and tinctures. So with the kids that day, and I put these in my herbal salves. So this is a good starter just to put those in there because I do make a wide array of herbal salves. And a lot of those are foraged just in my backyard. And that's what I started the kids with because if they can learn to identify this is gonna be so helpful because it's things that happen to kids all the time. One of them would be plantain. So everybody in their yard has broadleaf plantain. And you would know it if I showed it to that's the kids. Right. Like once I showed the kids, they were like, oh yeah, I see this everywhere. There's like a couple varieties. It is everywhere. I know for a fact it has to be near your yard. It's everywhere. And this is like the best thing to show kids because I was at an event in Winchester a few months ago and this little toddler came running into the building I was in screaming. She had stepped on a bee in the clover at the park. There's an event at the park. And I was trying to not scare the mom, but I was like, if you could just go find some plantain and chew on it really quick. And I mean, she's looking at me like, what? And then I looked around and realized in that shop, I was already selling one of my plantain salves. So I was like, you know what, just take this. She's like, I don't have I'm like, just take it. We put it on her daughter's foot. And I'm talking, this is like instant relief.
Really?
It is. It's happened to me where I've stepped in clover at our house and my daughter has brought me plantain. So like the kids now know. I know your daughter, like I told her about it and she knows now. So it is instant relief with a bee sting. That is a cool one for just families to know and kids to know. And then we looked at dandelion. You know, I was talking about, I don't like telling kids they can eat stuff, but that's like a very safe, easily identifiable one. That has anti-inflammatory properties. So that would work on a first aid kit too. One of the coolest ones we found that day was this one. Your wife has access to a ton. I'm not even sure how this happened because this is not one you usually find in yards.
Okay.
But Yarrow. So Yarrow.
I heard about that. We have a bunch of that for some odd reason.
For some reason, a ton of it. I'm like, this is so strange because most people buy this at Lowe's to try to put native plants in their yard. This is odd. But yes, I'm not sure how it got there. If like a seed blew into it just took over. It's commonly called woundswort too. It was used during the Civil War for, it's got blood clotting capabilities. That is just a good one if you need to hurry up and there's like a bleeding wound. That's in my first aid salve. So some of these are just good ones for skincare and they're everywhere.
So for that one, I got a bunch of it in my yard. So if I have a cut, what do I do? Do I go grab something?
Well, I always would say, it's like when I told that mom that day when her daughter had I'm like, if you could just chew on some, you're just wanting to extract the properties. So, or crush it in your hand. With yarrow, it's any part of the plant is helpful. So the flowers, because they get big. If you let them, I mean, you guys obviously mow your backyard, but they will get huge white flowers on them.
Oh, okay. You
can use the flowers. And yarrow also is in my belly tincture and my belly tea. It's good for your stomach. It's a good, that is an amazing herb. And that is native. And like I said, it's not usually a backyard herb, but it is a native plant. If you can just extract it anyway from crushing the leaves somehow. Like I said, some people will like chew on them in an emergency situation. What I do when you're not in an emergency is you can just infuse it in oil, which is what I told your wife to do. You can put it in a jar and then infuse it and extract it in oil. And then you have it ready to use as an oil you could rub it in, or you could add beeswax and make a salve. So that's what I told her to do. I don't know if she did, but I told her she could. She talked like she was.
Yeah,
she's like, what do I need for this?
Maybe she did, but I don't know so it's in our backyard, the yarrow is. I bet you, because that whole back area back there off the deck, it used to be landscaped really, really beautifully with field stone.
If it was stone, that likes a rocky ground.
Yeah. And there might be still some stone back there in places because I've removed a ton of it because over the years, previous owner let it go and it was just all overgrown and everything. So I started removing some of it, but maybe that's why, because it used to be like a big patio area back there.
We have a volunteer plant, and where it is in our house is the corner of the driveway, which is really difficult because I'm always like, nobody run over my yarrow.
Right.
Like, nobody, because it likes the rock. So that would make sense, but it is like a quarter of your backyard. Like I saw these little ferns, they have little ferny looking leaves, and I'm like, what? I'm like, do you have yarrow? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, no, it's everywhere. Like that is cool.
Yeah, that whole area. If you go out onto our deck, and you said about a quarter of it, and that would be it.
Yeah.
So everywhere from the side of the deck, all the way around the deck to the fence, and all the way around to the other side, that all used to have that field stone out there.
It was nicely mowed down, but it was it's one of my favorite plants. So I quickly was like, I know what that is.
Right. Well, there you go. We've got a supply of it if you ever need to come get some.
Yeah, I know. She said that. She's like, do you need some now? I'm like, no, I have enough. But so those are good ones to teach your kids about, especially the plantain. Because I'm saying like any bug bite, but it is instant relief. You know, that bee sting, it'll stay for a while. And it's usually your foot. And it's usually within a foot of me. Like when I step on it, I can look around and find 2 different types of plantain. It's just as common as dandelion if you don't spray your yard. Yeah, it's everywhere. So those are good for your skin. But when we get into teas and tinctures, my favorite one to forage for, my favorite plant is stinging nettle. And people get really weirded out by that because you're not supposed to touch it. I have to wear long sleeve shirts and gloves to go harvest it. It is all around at any parks that have like creeks at them because it does like water. So I will go forage for it. I will go grab a bunch of stinging nettle. And this is what I've told my kids. This is a superfood. And because people are like, no, it makes you itchy. Like
Right.
it has little hairs.
If it's going to make me itchy, why would I eat it?
Yeah. So it is a superfood. It is high in iron. So if you're anemic, actually sell it in capsule form. So it's very high in iron. It has some of the most minerals and vitamins out of any of the herbs that I have. It is my favorite plant. It's in a lot of my teas, a lot of my tinctures. It is said that it can block histamine receptors, so it's good for allergies. But what you do is as soon as it dries out, all of a sudden, all of those stinging things are inactive. So you could dry it and eat it if you were like in a survival situation. That's what's telling. I'm like, I don't know why you would be, but if you were ever like, this is just such a superfood. It's just good for you to eat.
So the only time it's actually going to make you itchier
is when it's fresh.
when it's fresh. Yeah. You're out there in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you dry it for a few hours, it should not do that anymore. So in my teas, it's fully dehydrated. It's not going to do anything to you. Because there's some native plants that do have hairs that don't go like that. But stinging nettle is everywhere. It's important to learn how to identify it. So that's kind of a harder one to forage because you make sure you're identifying it properly because there's a lot of lookalikes you want to avoid. But that's my favorite for my allergy teas. It's good for inflammation.
That's that in my backyard too.
No. I mean, that's kind of a good thing, I guess, because you don't want your kids like frolicking through it. But I believe it's at Lincoln Memorial Gardens. I'm trying to think. I know I've seen it at a lot of forest schools. Just walking with the kids, I'll be like, there's stinging nettle. And then sometimes I leave with the stinging. Like sometimes we'll hike in somewhere and then I end up pulling it out.
Carting some out. Yeah.
Not Lincoln Memorial Gardens, though, in case they're listening.
Right.
I don't do that there because I'm not allowed to do that there. I know that. But there's some places I am allowed to, and I do that. Here's a popular one. I saw it so much last year, and there's an old wives' tale that says when you see it, it means it's going to be a bad respiratory year, which I feel like last year was.
Okay, yeah.
And that's mullein. And that's the big one you see in ditches with the huge yellow flowers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's mullein. And that's one of them I was saying. It does have like little hairs all over, even when you dry it. But that is good for coughs. That's going to be your cough plant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a winter plant. That's in my respiratory tea. So those would probably be my top ones to forage locally. Oh, and red clover. I think everybody knows what red clover looks like, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, the kids at forest school were like, but it's not red, it's lavender.
Oh,
I'm like,
right.
okay.
Right.
I was like, but that is one that is in all my women's health teas. And that's good for balancing hormones. That's another one that's just everywhere. That is all around us too. So some of these are going to be, even if you live in town, in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them you might have to hike to like park.
Kind of a cool family activity, though.
Yeah.
If once you get to know what they are and everything.
I'd also showed the kids jewelweed. Jewelweed, a lot of the times it's next to poison ivy, and that is what you use for poison ivy. So nature, they actually grow next. I know, nature's so neat. I know. Yeah. So that's one that likes areas like stinging nettle, like kind of woody, kind of swampy, floods a little, and that's going to have big orange or yellow flowers on it. But that is in my poison ivy salve. So these are all local, and they're all around us. They're all around Springfield area. So those are probably my top ones.
Yeah, that's super cool that you want to call it the poison. The poison and the antidote are growing right next to it.
Well, I always tell the kids when they're looking for them, Kickapoo Creek at Lincoln, that's a place that floods a lot. So much stinging nettle, so much jewelweed, so much poison ivy. On one of the hikes, I remember where my daughter's like, oh, there's jewelweed, and all of a sudden she's like, where's the poison? Because you almost know then
it's
to look
always
for
there.
And there it was. Yeah, she was actually almost kneeling and looking. I'm like, and she goes, oh, there it is.
Right
I'm like, yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
But and then one of the hikes, some kids ran through poison ivy, and we did actually just go rub jewelweed all over them afterwards, and none of them got it from what I heard. So I'm hoping it's actually just supposed to help after the fact, get rid of it quicker. But I've heard if you use it immediately, it will stop it. Like you break it open and kind of rub it all over. So
I will try that because I get poison ivy pretty bad. If it gets it,
really?
If I get around
it,
it would be a bad one for me.
I have never had it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, growing up, I got it all the time.
Yeah, my youngest has had it really badly.
Grew up, there was a forest right behind our house, so we were down there all the time, and I was poison ivy half the summer most. most of the time.
And you might have had jewelweed back there.
Yeah,
it is
probably
hard
did.
to identify before it goes in bloom. So it's one
Yeah.
of those, and it's in bloom for a short amount of time. So I feel like unless you know what you're looking for, that one's harder to.
Mhm.
But yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably did. Now, with this stuff too, in a previous episode, we were talking about studying all the different, herbs and the different medicines
Yeah.
and things like that. I always find it interesting. Over the years, all these things through observation
Yeah.
have come to be why they are used for that. And I always wonder, hey, who was the first person to use such and such on there and
Yeah,
figure
like-
out that plant did this?
Like,
You know?
was it because somebody got poison ivy and that plant was nearby and they were
Right.
like, oh no, this
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm always curious of that.
Actually-
Who was the first person that did that? How'd they figure that out?
The father of Western herbalism, I believe it was like the 1800s. He actually became famous because he accidentally used a plant on somebody
Uh-huh.
and it made them sick. But through that, he found out it was a cure and he got like famous over it because whatever illness was going around at that time, he was healing everybody with this
Right.
plant he found in his horse pasture. So it's like, you never know how these things come
Yeah.
to be, but
Just always curious. I
Yeah,
think it's
I
super
know.
cool.
it is cool.
So-
Nature's cool.
Yeah. So there you go. If your family out there, hey, go do some foraging. Find some of
Yeah.
these things. Look these
Yeah.
up. So
It's fun.
do you have any resources on your website that talk about that type of stuff?
I don't know if I've done foraging yet. I am supposed to speak on it at that homesteading
Mhm.
conference. Is your wife I feel like your wife got tickets to that. I don't even know if you did.
Yeah,
Did
she did.
Maybe
She told me
could
about a
rec- yeah,
conference coming up.
Yeah, I try to do like educational reels when I have time and break down why I use the plants I do. I did do a reel on stinging nettle, and it does tell you how to identify it because there's different kinds of nettle,
Uh-huh.
and stinging nettle is the highest in vitamins and minerals. So that's the one you want if you can. But it shows you how to identify it and then what it's used for and what its properties are. If you're on social media, I do have a lot of educational content for that.
Okay.
So
Cool. Well, yeah, check that out. Go foraging for yourself, or
Yeah.
if you want to just get the end product, go
Yeah.
see Kyleigh over at the Primitive
come see me.
Prairie.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you spending some time with me today, as
Yeah.
always.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to let Kyleigh get back to elevating Springfield, but for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back. Custom Property Solutions transforms land and outdoor spaces throughout Central Illinois with precision and passion. From clearing overgrown brush to crafting stunning patios and fire pits. Need expert lawn care, excavation, or fence row clearing? They've got you covered, safely, efficiently, and on budget. Fully insured and satisfaction guaranteed. Visit CustomPropertySolutionsLLC.com today, where your land meets their passion. Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody, on the Wellness Upgrade. I hope you enjoy these quick hits of actionable strategies. Thank you to Kylie Melvin for stopping by. Check her out at the Primitive Prairie. So much great stuff. We use quite a bit of their products. Definitely recommend. So, hey, take what you learned today. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all. We're going to elevate Springfield. Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at SangamonTreeService.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust.